We've all heard about it time and time again. Human trafficking. It's a huge problem in our country, and Houston has been called out for it being a hotspot here. And with January being Human Trafficking Awareness Month, we spoke to the Houston Police Department about its new initiative to fight human trafficking, giving you the power to do so in the palm of your hands.
And joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight, we have with us Commander Jessica Anderson, who is with the Houston Police Department Vice Division. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. Obviously, this month, we are paying close attention to human and sex trafficking out there in our community, around our country. What's the focus like here in the city of Houston for HPD?
Well, as you mentioned, this month is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So one of the big pushes in January is for HPD to push out the message to the community about what to look for, what the crimes are, what the elements of these different crimes are for both labor trafficking and sex trafficking. People say that Houston is a hub for human trafficking. I think that's just because we're much better at locating it and rooting it out, both with our community and our criminal justice system. So that's part of what this focus is this month, with different messages to educate the community and to get everybody on the same page about what these crimes look like.
And most important is to alert parents out there, because a lot of these criminals are contacting their children, 14-year-old girls, even younger, through social media. And if parents are not paying attention to what's going on with their kids, their children can get caught up in that web.
That's absolutely right. We do see a lot of sexual trafficking going on with the social media and predators preying on kids through the various platforms, just because kids don't really know what to look for, and the parents aren't always aware of what's happening online either.
Now, when it comes to young people, and you, I'm sure, have rescued a lot of young people out there from the hands of pimps and johns, is it difficult to get them acclimated to regular life once they've lived in the world of human sex trafficking, where they've sold their body at 14, 15 years old? How do you get them back into the position of being a child again, and coming to grips with what they've been through? How difficult is that for you as a law enforcement officer to see that as well?
Yeah, you make some really good points. It is very difficult. I think there are a lot of misconceptions about what human trafficking actually looks like, and there is a lot of trauma involved with it. And so we rely very heavily on our different advocates and partners to help us walk these victims through the recovery process and work through a lot of that trauma so that they can come back into society in a more holistic way and with a more fulfilled way. Because, as you know, these traffickers do a lot of coercion, dehumanization, that sort of thing. So it's important for us to work with our partners across the board to get folks the help that they need.
What's our role as members of the community? Say we don't have any skin in the game that we know of, like our children or family members or relatives. The average citizen, what can we do to get involved and to put a stop to human trafficking?
Well, first, I'd encourage everybody to pay attention to our social media campaign this month to know what the signs are, what to look for. Because, I mean, we say it all the time, but if you see something, say something. If things look out of place, if something looks odd, let us know so that we can investigate. And whether that's a labor trafficking thing or sex trafficking, if something looks strange, let us know. The other thing to know is that it's not as deep-rooted or hidden away as people might think. It is out there in the public. This is something that you may have seen whether or not you knew it. So that's my biggest advice, is to say something if you see something.
We have seen a lot of law changes in the recent legislature to address human trafficking here in the state of Texas. Does that give you the tools you need as law enforcement to go after these people out there?
Absolutely. I think Texas has done really well with adjusting our legislation to really target the predators, and as well as to include trauma-informed care for everything as well. One of the biggest ones this past session was making it a felony to buy prostitution. So that's a target on the demand suppression and the sellers, or the buyers. And so that, I think, has been very helpful. We'll see how that works out as it plays through in the process, but it's definitely a step in the right direction to help address demand suppression.
In Houston, we have seen what I would call ebb and flow on Bissonnette, where things were really bad. You guys tackled it, then it came back, and you tackled it again. Where does Bissonnette stand now in getting rid of prostitution that we see open in the public out there?
With regard to Bissonnette specifically, I think it is going to be a long-term solution. We can continue to hit it hard as the police department, but as I've said before, I'm not sure that that's something we can necessarily arrest our way out of. If we could have, we would have by now. It will really take a longer-term, larger-scale approach to tackling that stretch of roadway, just because it is so entrenched, I think, in the community. It's been that way for many, many, many years. So I think there's a push to get more stakeholders involved. As I said, arrest is just part of it. We need to be trauma informed as well, get enough advocates, and that sort of thing. So I think we're working towards it, but it will be a long-term, large-scale process.
And that's key what you said. You can't arrest your way out of it. It has to be a community-involved effort to put a stop to that like that. Commander Anderson from HPD's Vice Division, we want to thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. And thank you for the work you do in rescuing young people out there and keeping the community safe.
Thank you very much.